Welcome, everyone. Dr. Thor, get ready for Gnosis. What I want to talk about is other systems that are proven effective. More in It Works series, which I've just started. So, and it does work. And I think there's not enough positive talk out there. We're so bombarded by the controllers, the liars, the thieves and criminals, the people that want to keep you in their little realities, which basically means they control you. Whether this is a priest, a minister, a caliph, a political system, whatever it is, they're keeping you down. The man is keeping you down, dude. So, and it is so true, and it's up to you to break your way out of that. If people reach levels of enlightenment, we will slowly change the entire society. Or maybe we can make it livable again and start having, fun times on Sunday. Instead of watching football, we can watch the executions of all the traitors to humanity. That sounds like fun to me. Let's open a beer to that. It's Miller time! And of course, let's remember that these are the traitors to humanity, meaning people across the globe. Nobody is excluded from this, and nobody is better. If we want to look at the world, we can blame the, quote, if there is such a thing, white people for what they've screwed up and how they've tortured and abused all of the world. The atrocities that go on in Africa and Central and South America is unbelievable. So it's time for these people to have their comeuppance. So the whole idea is that, but there are working systems out there that have been around for years. And while, of course, my system is the finest and best out there because, first of all, it's empowered. When you get something from me, we're passing energy to you that you do not create yourself. We also have a selection of tools. All these tools empower you to very high levels that you're not going to get from unempowered courses. But it still gets down to the fact of, I remember when I went to my first private exercise lesson, I was trying to, at that time, many years ago, build some muscles up. And I was telling the personal trainer, I want to build this muscle and that muscle. And he said, boy, let's get some muscles first. So, well, that's right. It's pretty hard to build anything until there's something there to begin with. So it's the same thing with using my empowered tools and tools in general. It's good to have a foundation. Now, a lot of people I deal with don't have money. They are living in everywhere from Africa to Pakistan to other places, have very limited funds, if any. They are internet-based. And, of course, we don't have a lot of stuff, even though, do check our PDFs, people. All of our old texts are there, and you can get a really great rune course, magic course, etc., for a couple of bucks. And these are not empowered, but the information is fantastic. So do check out our PDF page there. And no matter where you are in the world, you pay your money. You got to have PayPal, I guess. It's not like I love doing that, but and you download it instantly. So you go to there, you buy it, and you download it. So you have it within minutes of paying a few bucks for it. And believe me, those materials are exciting and some of the best out there as well. But there's also a lot of free stuff you can find around. If you look on the internet, you can find free information in many places. People post PDFs for free up there. I find these all the time and try and let people know, particularly Patreon and Inner Order members. It's there, it's posted, so you might as well take advantage of it within reason. So the whole idea is that a lot of people can't do this and don't have the money. That doesn't mean you can't train yourself. Well, I can't afford your stuff, Dr. Thor. Well, yes, it's not exactly cheap, even though they're lifetime tools. So over your lifetime, basically they're virtually free. If you don't get back at 100 times more than from using my technology, it's just generally isn't even possible. You apply everything you're going to get. But doesn't matter. If you don't got the money, you don't get the no tiki, no washi. So the whole idea is that the bottom line is that that's the way it goes. So, but there are systems out there. There's things I've looked at. And as I said, there's an awful lot of free stuff that you can access I think it's Scrib or I always can't. Scrib or Scribe used to be a great resource for free stuff. It still is, and a lot of places you can join for even like Kindle Unlimited. I mean, man, can you get a lot of information for $10 a month that you can download? So I mean, you can't get much cheaper than that, and you literally can get books on everything at Kindle Unlimited. The same thing with Scrib or Scribe. They have a lot of stuff that's posted up there that is rare information, unlike Kindle Unlimited, which are just regular books that you can download. A lot of them you can download. You can open a free account at Scribe and upload a bunch of stuff that you have to then download stuff for free. And this could be the back of your cereal box that you cut out, scan, and upload. So, I mean, it's to that. People upload instructions from their toasters and everything else. So, this is free information. You're not taking stuff up there that is for sale stuff. This is all the stuff they have up there that people have uploaded. I've uploaded hundreds of free books up there from royalty or copyright-free books, etc. So this is another little trick with Scribe, or pay them their $10 a month and get stuff as well. So that's a great way to access a lot of things. And if you into their services, they have a lot of the new books as well. But people looking for something that's just free, you can hunt up a lot of that stuff as well. So a lot of people just don't have the cash and everything else, and I understand that. But again, all of my tools work better when you build your foundation. And I always stress this. Now, getting foundations in any kind of occult science, alternative, subtle energy, physics, reality, any training is good. Any book on psychic power, any book on basic magical practices is good. All of that is there. So it's worth getting and reading, and more importantly, pick out some techniques that you like and apply them. Now, one of the things that I found that are very excellent system where for one reason or another, I never got into it, the Silva mind system. I never got into it. I have read several of his books and a few of his course materials, but never really. I always read them and said, yeah, this is pretty good stuff. And I never really followed through with it. I kind of drifted in other wares. And of course, I have my own systems, which are hybrid systems I've developed basically for myself, and now I offer these to others. But, I hate to just say, while my systems still are the best out there, there certainly is some good other material out there. And I always like to point that out, particularly because there's so much junk out there. And the time we're living in is there's very dangerous material out there that is connected to very evil people. So whether it's evil directly or not is something that you have to be aware of. A lot of these trainings, there's an underlying evil energy to them, which is frightening. Now, this happened to me many years ago when I was studying runes, and I picked up what at that time was considered the serious book on runes, which was Edred Thorson's book on runes, his first one. Which was published by Simon Wiesner, whatever it was, who's now out of business. And I was reading a book, and I was to look at it, and I noticed in the introduction that he thanked a few people there. And I said, where have I heard this name before? Michael Aquino. I just can't stop talking about the guy. But the whole idea is that Michael Aquino was listed as one of the people he thanked. And I said, well, where did I hear? Oh, that's that Temple of Set guy. What is Edred Flowers, his real name is, doing associating with him? Well, Edred Flowers was the head of the trapezoid of the Temple of Satan. Is where the Church of Satan was a trapezoid, because nothing of the Temple of Set is anything new except that name. And I'm sure he got that name from Anton LaVey as well. But the trapezoid order, which was this Nazi magic and a few other things, as long as the vampire temple, which was part of his wife's, she ran that, all came from the Church of Satan. Very typical of Satanists, no imagination. And certainly he thinks he's better than anybody else. He's so intellectual, which he's not. But this is how hidden information. So from that point on, I said, well, maybe, and this was, 1980, 85, 86, I don't know. Very early when that book just came out, and that was considered the premier book on the runes at that time. The book before that was Ralph Blum's Book of Runes, but, the pseudo-intellectual type, well, this guy's just a New Ager, He's a Jewish guy. So the whole idea is that people poo-pooed that book, which I have went back to and found to be an excellent text and highly recommend it because it is kind of neutral and everybody can use it easier. And it's still a great book, and I highly recommend Ralph Blum's book. So in the past, and I think in my course, I kind of poo-poo it. But it's a good book. It's a good neutral book. The higher books that are more geared into supposedly what is more based in the actual tradition, which is a fantasy because all the runic stuff, particularly anything coming from Edred Flowers, is all been polluted by the German Middle Eastern effects of it. So Germans are not Norse. They have nothing to do with the runes or any of that. This is a fantasy in their mind that they stole. They are Persians. So we need to understand that they are not Norse. They are not Anglo-Saxons. They are not Celts. So this is something about going back in your history. Now, Edred Thorson, even to this day now, lists in his studies, it ends with Persian mythology. Well, you finally admitting it? Yeah, because everybody's thrown you out of those other organizations. But so the whole idea is that we need to understand that of the pedigree of something. So we have to understand what this is all about. So I've kind of diverged here a wee bit, but what is hidden underneath there? So we need to get into systems that are not hidden. So you never know, but ever since then, I've always looked for the hidden. I've looked through his books very carefully and have not found much that he has perverted. A little bit, and there is a spin to it, but what is the energy behind that book? We're talking about books about magical systems that are energetic, that connect you to spirits to some level. Well, what are you buying there when you buy from somebody who's a devout Satanist and then hiding behind other traditions? Well, so we got to be very careful. So the Silva mind method is a very interesting thing. Now, Silva was Jose Silva, put together this whole system. He was an electronics repairman. Too bad was unable to know this guy. We probably could have built some very cool radionic equipment together. And he developed this entire system to increase his child's IQ. He developed this systems in 1944. And it was launched commercially in the 1960s. And boy, his stuff is everywhere. As I said, you can probably, and that's another way to get things very inexpensively. You know, when you find a popular books like his, you can go to these used bookstores online, Amazon, abe.com, abe.com, and you can find these books very inexpensively. You know, you can get something, you know, there's sometimes the postage is more than the book. Of course, there's good old eBay. That you can get books very inexpensively. So you know, I would look up Jose Silva. You want to look up the Silva mind control method. All of these are great books that certainly have a great value. Now, he's one of the few unbastardized nice systems, etc., which I do recommend. So it's definitely something you can get out there. There's lots of courses. I think his organization is still going if you want to get very official and join it and take courses. I'm not sure, but there's a ton of books out there. I'm not sure you have to do that extra expense. You know, a lot of stuff, especially if you're cutting corners, you know, get something cheap. But the important part is to get something good and something that doesn't have hidden garbage in it. So as far as I know, Jose Silva basically is a straight guy who is taught his family. He developed the system. He had many people have went through his courses. What does it say? It's how many people have actually went through his system. Somewhere I saw that. But, you know, tens of thousands of people have went through his system, used it, etc. I'm surprised, but that so many people and how popular he is and... he learned, I mean, basically it's really excellent mental training. He also goes into what would be considered, even before his time, remote viewing, psychic projection, and all those things that go with it. So, and he was very much into brain states, the alpha state, where brainwaves frequency is 14 hertz, daydreaming. He went into all the scientific things since he was a electronics repairman. He was familiar with certain frequencies, even though those are of Hertzian, etc. So, I mean, it's a pretty good system. It's something you can probably find everywhere inexpensively, and it is certainly one of those few systems out there that isn't polluted. The problem is, if you get anything modern from anybody. It doesn't matter if they call themselves a psychic, a healer, whatever it is. There's a huge percentage of people putting out all sorts of material, and they're saying Satanist is the in thing. Satanism is what people are becoming connected to directly, and they are not going to announce that necessarily, but they're putting that energy into their training. Be careful. Well, here's one guy that wasn't into that, and the instructions and everything else here are very good and gives you a sound foundation. Now, for anybody looking for unempowered, unassisted empowerments, this certainly is one of those systems that you can get, and the training is good, and he's proven it with his systems and been tested, and many people have taken it. So this is something I highly recommend. So check it out if you're looking for something alternative or something inexpensive or something you may be able to find free online. Check it all out, and this certainly is going to be an empowerment. And the whole idea is you got to empower yourself to begin with, and then you can jump into bigger, better systems and start manifesting like crazy using some assisted manifestation technologies. Until next time.